welcome to my review of Bright Memory for the Series X. And this was actually one of the first games to be showcased when the Series X debuted, from what I remember. And visually, it's a very impressive game. More impressive is that I believe it was mostly made by one developer, one person. So that is impressive, but I'm going to rate it as a game, as I don't really, give a shit about those details. When it comes down to the review, it's about the gameplay and what the game has to offer. Now, this is a hard game to review because, the gameplay is actually really, really good. But the game is so fucking short. It only took me about an hour and 4 minutes to beat. And of course, if you know what you're doing, you could probably beat it in 45 minutes or something like that. It's a very short fucking game. It's almost like a demo. So, that would be my main issue with the game. Now here you have a puzzle that makes no sense. I don't think there's any clues in the environment or anything. And I just got it by moving a bunch of random circles around until I got the right solution. So I mean that was kind of shitty. I mean that's not exactly good gameplay, but that's the only puzzle in the game from what I remember. So not a huge deal. But yeah, the combat is very varied. Earlier I showed the upgrade menu. You have, a decent amount of upgrades you can do. The problem is there's not much game to upgrade for, you know what I mean? But I guess the replay comes from New Game Plus. The game does offer New Game Plus mode where you carry over all your upgrades and all that shit to the consecutive playthroughs. So you could do that, and I believe it does get harder on those playthroughs. So I didn't play through a second time yet, but you could definitely do that. The game mixes guns, swords, and magic powers, basically, all together, and it does so in a really good way. It really does feel good. The hits are great. And, like I said, the gameplay is actually pretty damn good. I mean, it could use a little bit more polish in certain areas, but for the most part, it controls pretty well. And, it feels great to play. So this is an actual boss fight, the first one that I show so far. There's really not many bosses because, like I said, it's such a short game. But it is a cool boss fight, and the final boss is pretty cool too. The main highlight is fighting the varied enemies. There's some, it's basically like combat arena after combat arena, basically, because you can't just run past the enemies. So you kind of have to kill a certain amount of enemies before you can progress most of the time. So it's kind of in that old school FPS style, like Painkiller, and though it's more advanced than that. Of course, the gameplay is a lot more, detailed than those old simple FPS games. But it does kind of, follow it in that sense where it's one combat arena after another, pretty much in the environment. It's very linear, which I like. I actually like that style. But yeah, there's a nice variety of like special moves. You got your swords, guns. You can mix it all. And it just mixes really nice. You end up pulling off a lot of cool shit, and it's very satisfying, very enjoyable. And like I said, the only bad thing I can really say about the game is that it's, maybe 45 minutes long if you know what you're doing. So, and that's not a speed run. That would probably just be if you didn't die, I don't even know how long a speed run of this shit would be. It'd probably be, it might be 15 minutes. I don't even know. But, reasonably, it may take you like an hour or so, or 45 minutes. Depends. If you play really well, then you can go through it real fast. But the first time, it took me about an hour and 4 minutes. But, I'm pretty accustomed to FPS games. So it's going to vary depending on your skill level at these kind of games. But either way, it's a short fucking game. So that's going to be the main issue with the game. I think the footage came out a little fucked up, but towards this end fight. But now this one I didn't even do a tutorial for. I mean, it was such a short game, and it would be like playing the first few stages of a modern FPS game or something like that. Though the last boss here is a little bit challenging. It does provide a little bit of a challenge. But, like I said, nothing was that difficult and nothing took too long. But I did enjoy the game. Actually, I enjoyed it enough to where I picked up the sequel, and I'm working on that currently. I don't have a complete playthrough up yet, but I'm probably about halfway through that. That one's only about 2 hours long, apparently. So I guess they added maybe an extra hour. And it does have new areas and shit. So far, that's very cool, but I'm sure I'm going to have the same issue with that and that it's just too short. But it is a very cheap game, so I think you can pick this up for maybe $15. And the sequel is about $15. If you're going to buy one of these games to see if you like it, pick up Bright Memory Infinite. Because that's the sequel to this, and you can get that for about the same price. So get that one first, and if you enjoy that, at least you get 2 hours of content out of that. And if you replay it, of course, there's probably New Game Plus in that one too. So you probably get more replay out of that. It seems better than this from what I played. So, and it is longer. So, definitely play that one first. And then maybe if you want some extra content, pick this one up too. But, yeah, this is a hard one. I'd probably give this a 7.5 out of 10. And I would rate it a lot higher if it was longer, but there's just not a shitload of content. But it's a lot of fun while it lasts, and you can get some replay out of it if you want to do the harder difficulties, and you want to carry over all your gear and do New Game Plus, so there is that. So it's not completely just a one-time playthrough. It does have a little bit more to offer. So that's why I would give it a 7.5. I'd say it's a pretty good game. Not great. I wouldn't say it's great, but if it was a full-length game, it would be great, I think, if it kept up the quality. If you have any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.